Welcome to Conquer a Parenting Podcast with Americ McCullough. Americ is a mother of three and occupational therapist. I'm a father of one. My name is Scott Grierson, and I am an elementary educator. On today's show, we are going to be talking about time management with Dr. Magdalena Battles from livingjoydaily.com. Americ, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Scott. Great to be here. Hey, listen, I think you had some words of wisdom or some homework that you did.
Yes, so I had the parenting challenge this week, and it was a bit of a challenge. So a tip, I can't remember where I found it, but I thought since we're going to be talking about time management this week, I would try a time management tip. And one of those tips was picking out my daughter's clothes the night before to kind of help things in the morning. So not only did we pick out the clothes the night before, but I let my daughter, who's not even two yet, pick out her own clothes for the next day. And it led to some interesting results. One side effect that I really enjoyed is that I don't want to say I get in trouble, but maybe sometimes I don't do a great job of matching my daughter's clothes, and my wife doesn't really care for it. But now all of the stress is out of my hands. I can't make any mistakes because my daughter is picking out her own clothes.
Oh, I
Now,
love it.
yes. So what I do is I give her like weather appropriate options, right? So I give her
Okay,
three tops
okay.
that all work, three bottoms, and she gets to pick it out the night before, and then I don't have to think about it again in the morning. So, right, she's going to be comfortable, but she certainly does not match. But I don't care, and it's fantastic because my wife can't get mad at me about it anymore. So
Ah,
this is like a double
perfect.
win. And my daughter, like, I think it really has helped her because sometimes she doesn't like to change from her pajamas to her regular clothes. But I don't know, maybe it's just my imagination, but I think even at, 2 years old, she remembers that, "Oh, I picked out this outfit, like, this is mine," and she kinda takes ownership of it a little bit. That might
Yeah,
be
yeah.
it might be me projecting that on her, but I like to think it's true, and I don't know, it's been fun to do this week. We haven't really had any major problems, and I've kinda liked it.
That's awesome. I love that. And you're wrong. You could It's totally helping her because that's building her confidence because it's one thing, that she has in her pocket now that she can do. So that's awesome. That's really good challenge.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it, and I plan to stick with it. I don't know.
Good.
Like I said, I don't get in trouble anymore for picking out, clothes that don't match, so I really
That's
like it.
Yeah, that's even better.
Absolutely. But as I mentioned, today we are talking about time management. Before we bring on Dr. Battles, do you have any opening thoughts on time management?
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to speak with Dr. Battles because I'm always interested in time management and all the families and kids I work with. I try to teach time management, so I'm sure she's going to give us some great tips on all these things that we need. Everybody needs time management. So
That is absolutely true. And we will bring in Dr. Battles right after this word from our sponsor. This segment of the show is brought to us by mathradio.com. Mathradio.com offers educational math courses for students between the ages of 7 and 17. So if your child is in the third grade, seventh grade, or even high school, they have courses for you. Sign up today at mathradio.com for any math course for only $9.99. Help your kids do better in class, get better grades, score higher on exams, and even get into college. Act now and get your courses at mathradio.com for as little as $9.99. Again, that is www.mathradio.com.
hey, Scott, can you introduce our time management guru guest? It's like a tongue twister.
It is. I'd be happy to. Our guest today is Dr. Magdalena Battles. Dr. Battles has three super cute kids. She is a doctor of psychology. She writes for lifehack.org, and she is the founder of livingjoydaily.com, where you can find pictures of those adorable kids I mentioned earlier, along with advice for having joy in every area of your life.
So, before we get started, can you tell our audience a little bit about your website and your upcoming book?
Okay, well, thank you for asking. My website is Living Joy Daily, and I began a few years ago when my kids were little. I felt that I just needed an outlet to express myself and kind of do something outside of just momming because being home with three little ones can be a little overwhelming. And I had a doctorate already, and I just felt like I wasn't really using it, and I felt this would be a great way to start a blog and be able to write psychological articles and life insight. And I write about other things too, including style, decorating, whatever is going on in our lives. I tend to write about, which has been a great outlet for me, and I've actually published over 500 blog postings now. It's a very active site. I enjoy writing, and it is my outlet. And the other question was about
Yeah, about your book.
yes. Okay. Well, I've written a book on relationships with extended families. I based it on an article from lifehack.org. I had an article there that went viral. It was about the most common problems that extended families have, and it just went viral on Facebook without me doing anything. I went to look at my stats, and it had 24,000 shares. So that's not
Oh my
just reading,
gosh.
24,000
Right.
shares. So it really helped me see that people can relate to this. You know, we all have family problems. Even I come from a good family, and we still have problems.
Right, right.
Even good families that function on a healthy basis still have issues that come up, and we need to know how to handle them properly so that we can maintain those good relationships.
That sounds wonderful. So today we're going to talk about time management
Yes,
as a family, as a parent, and um, I you have like 10 time management tips.
yes,
So I was going through them. Scott and I were talking about them, and one of the ones that was really intriguing was how does this hierarchy, like your hierarchy of importance, can you just tell our audience about that? Because that was very interesting to me.
thanks. Yeah. It's something my husband and I talked about before we even got married. Like, what is most important? What are our values? And for us, it's our faith first, then the marriage comes next, and then the children. When those things get turned out of order and you start putting your kids first, or your job first, or your hobbies first, everything gets thrown out of whack. And that's when you lead to making life decisions that aren't healthy for you or your family. So for us, our hierarchy of importance is, again, starting with God first, foremost, and then our marriage comes next, and the children under that. And it doesn't mean that the children don't take more time, because they do. We spend more time taking care of our kids because they need the care, and
Right.
but we make an effort to work on our marriage and to have regular dates and get outside of the kids so we can maintain our a healthy marriage at the same time. And above all that is God. You know, everything that we do is under uh, the
All right.
direction of God in our lives.
Yeah, it's like almost like he's the umbrella.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's great. So how does that tie into, I saw a lot of blog posts on your family mission statement. And I think you even have like a program maybe for, developing a family mission statement.
Yes, I hope to be releasing that soon on my blog. It is it should be an ebook download available for people about how to develop their own family mission statement. And I came on this because I thought we have such a short window of opportunity to make an impression on our kids' lives. The ages between the ages of 4 and 18, they're the most impressionable. And so it's that window of time that we have to instill the values and morals and belief system into them, and pour everything that we can into them during that time. Once they're out of the house, they're out of the house. Not that you don't have an influence, but when they're under your roof and by the time they're age of 4, it's prime time to start molding them into good and decent human beings, truly. And
Yeah.
our family decided to sit down and create our own family mission statement. And in doing that, we actually sat down with the kids and we asked them, what is our goal as a family? And it was really great. The kids, and my kids at the time were 6 and 4. And so they were still young, but even the 4-year-olds came up with great ideas. And so they came up with things like, well, we need to love each other and we need to care about each other and take care of one another. And they used words like respect and help those in need was another idea from my daughter. And so we molded those into 10 practical statements into one over encompassing mission statement. And so with those 10 points within our mission statement, we decided to break those down into yearly goals. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah. So example for the first year is our statement is we love God first and foremost. We're a Christ-centered family, and our primary goal is to worship God, obey his commands, and have a personal relationship with Christ. And so with that, we're going to institute things in our home to um, make that happen in a
Right,
very real,
right,
practical way, rather than just praying at a meal. Because a lot of times
right.
we get caught up in busyness of life, and then we're not intentional about our
Mhm.
parenting. And so because we want to instill these values in our children, then we're going to do things that can make that happen, such as reading devotional books. We read one, just a short devotional at mealtime, and we pray on the way to school. Um, and after school, we talk about gratitude and things that we're grateful for during the day, and what God has done for us. But that's just our first year. So the next year, we talk about we love one another. So we love others as we love ourselves. And so we treat others as we would want to be treated. And so we'll create a plan around that of things that we can do every day, and then maybe larger things like service opportunities once a month, that sort of thing.
Right, right. That's awesome. So it's almost like you have like long-term goals, short-term goals, like within your mission statement. That's really
Yeah.
interesting. So how does that tie into time management? Because now that we're talking, it sounds like you have to be very time orientated and to make all those kinds of big dreams and things happening. So talk to us about in time management in families and how we can get better at it, I guess.
Okay. Yes. And the first thing is, yeah, time management is about intentionality and our choices, where we're putting our time. I think a lot of times, especially parents, we get involved with, oh, our kids want to play soccer and they want to play baseball and they want to do ballet, and we've signed them up for 3 or 4 activities. And all of a sudden, 3 or 4 nights a week, we're gone. We're gone.
Right.
You multiply that by 3 kids, you're gone every night of the week. And there is no time to sit down as a family to have dinner. There's no time to teach children the lessons that you want to teach them. And so what we find is to limit our extracurricular activities. We try to only involve kids in one activity at a time. Now it changes by season typically too. So like my
Yeah.
boys, they play on the same baseball team right now, and then in the summertime they might do soccer. And so we choose what activities will align with our family values too. So we're not going to I don't want to say allow, but we're going to choose activities that align with our mission statement.
Yeah, no, I grew up I there are 3 kids in my family. I have 3 kids, and we do the same thing because what we were finding is when we were so busy, because we sit down and have dinner every night. Like that's our thing. That's,
Yeah.
my dad, I grew up in a restaurant, so food is super important. So we decided same thing a long time ago that we were going to just let our kids just do one thing, and it changes every season, but there'll be times where we're just like, no, you can't do both things, or what's the choice too.
Right.
And as parents, I think we should be okay with saying no. Like
Right.
it's not like you're like my kid's not going to be a superstar, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
chances are I don't
Chances.
have a Tiger Woods on my hands. Like
Right. Right.
I mean, they're good, they're awesome kids, but they're
Right.
and honestly, if they get into high school and they're really good at something, then that's the time that they can shine. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be when they're 8 or 10.
Right.
Like it's what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I agree completely. I see kids in our area is very competitive, and I see kids that are even age 10 getting special coaches and lessons and private lessons for, like baseball. And, every family is different. They set their own
Yeah,
priorities,
sure.
but that doesn't work for us on what our values are. We're um, not going that direction. But I think that for everything that you say yes to, you're saying no to something else.
Right, right.
So if you say yes, oh, I want to pick up some private lessons over here 2 days a week. Well, then you're saying, oh, no, we're not going to be able to sit down as a family and have dinner these
Right,
2 nights.
yeah.
So your decisions are playing out how your family life is going to be. And when
Yeah.
you're overly involved, your kids they're not going to be with you.
Right. And I think anything is fine as long as the parents are fine with the outcome, right? Like
Yes,
I know a family who they're really into sports and that's
yes,
just what they are, and
exactly.
they do the sports, and you know what? That's okay, because at the end of the day, that's what's important to them.
Exactly.
So
And that
I
could be part of their family mission statement.
right,
For
exactly.
some
Like
families
we're
it is.
competitive.
Mhm.
We like this. Whatever the situation is. So it's out, but it comes down to, like you said, you have to sit down and really understand your values,
Yes,
and you have to, and it's great to write them out. As a family.
I agree. And having the kids involved in the process, there are some people who have gone through and created mission statements and then they just show them to their kids and they say, this is our mission statement. This is what our family's about. Well, the kids aren't going to be bought into it because they weren't a part of the process. You want
Right.
to involve them in actually writing down what they want to input and put into that family mission statement so that they feel ownership.
Yeah.
Dr.
And
Battles,
let
I
oh,
wanted
go
to
ahead.
tie that back into your list of parenting tips for time management. The second one you said was don't do too much for your kids. So it
Oh.
sounds like that example of what you were just saying is someone who's doing too much for your kids. Now, it's great to make goals and values, together, but if you're doing it for your kids, it doesn't help. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I agree completely. I agree. You need to, and the same goes with anything that they do. If they're capable of doing it, let them do it. We shouldn't be doing everything for them. My kids started making their beds around age 4, I think. I think maybe even 3, where it wasn't so good at 3, but got them through, starting to do things that they're capable of. And when kids are, I think we underestimate kids. We really
Mhm.
do in
Yeah.
society. And these kids are so capable and humanitarian trips abroad in Guatemala numerous times. And you have these little kids that come up to you in the street, and these kids look to be 5 or 6 years old. And they're coming up to you and trying to sell you, bubble gum or some, knickknacks that their parents made. And they're trying to make money for their family. I'm thinking, if these kids can be out hustling on the street at age 5 and 6, making money for their family, well, then my kids
Mhm.
can very well clean a toilet and make their beds at
Yep.
that. So, we don't give our kids enough credit here sometimes in our society. Or we remain so focused on, well, their priority is homework and doing their school and academics. And that is true too. But we need to teach them valuable life skills, keep track of a home and how to cook and how to clean. Those are life
Mhm.
skills we want to instill in our children. So we need to have them do them while they're in our homes.
Yeah, and I think there's a Montessori schools are, and there's lists like online and Pinterest, like at every age level developmentally what your kids should be able to do.
Yeah.
And that is that I'm an occupational therapist, so I've worked with kids for a million years, and I really like you said, parents underestimate. I mean, all 3 of my kids do their own laundry. I don't touch their laundry. Now, is it great? Nope, it's not. And sometimes
Okay.
they go to school with dirty clothes, but I'm like, that's your problem. You're going to be embarrassed enough to be like, wow, I smell, and I should probably get my laundry done.
Yeah.
So, but I'm willing to let my kid go to school in a dirty whatever shirt or whatever, because I've let it go.
Yeah.
Right? You have to, as a parent, you have to be willing to let it go, and
Yeah.
not put your, if you're type A and you don't like mess, you know what? Then teach them the right way, but know that you're going to have to teach them multiple times to get it
Oh,
right, to the way that you want it. So I love that. I mean, we all have to let go of our, let go of our kids. We have to let the baby birds fly, and they have to start early. You have to start early.
oh,
So.
I agree. I agree 100%. And those charts are so awesome. Yes, you can find them on Pinterest. And
Yeah.
I have shared some on Lifehack previously, but I got them from Pinterest. I found the ideas there, and that's how I got the framework. And such valuable tools. And I think more parents should tune into that and look at what
Mhm.
can could actually do. What are other parents doing with their kids at this age? Because they're a lot more capable than we give them credit for sometimes.
So another thought about time management. I love your one blog post. It says, "Be honest about time waste."
Yes.
Oh, let's talk about that because I don't think anybody's honest about. We're all like on Instagram and
Oh,
you know, and like a half an hour goes by and you're like, "What just happened?" You know. So
yeah.
talk to us about that.
Yeah, if you want to kill time in your life, go on Instagram or Facebook. You can
Mhm.
waste, just gobs and gobs of time, no
Yep.
problem.
Yep. Cat videos, you name it, puppies.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, and the other one is binge watching. A lot of um,
Hmm.
now that we have Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hulu, I subscribe to those things, love them, but I still have to limit myself
Yep.
because I know that I can get sucked into wasting time. And then the night goes by and I have a to-do list that I got nothing done. And, we're not ready for the next day for school. And I have, an article that is due and I've lost track of time because of this time waste and this time suck. So it's something we all need to be more conscious of because with technology, it is so easy to fall into that trap. So we need to be cognizant about it. And also, if we do indulge in binge watching, I do it. I do it. I binge watch shows, love it, but multitask. I'm doing my laundry. I'm folding laundry. I'm
Okay.
doing dishes. I don't just sit and watch. And maybe that it helps me feel entertained, I guess, while I'm working. So my focus is really truly getting my work done, and then in the background, I'm watching.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's so true. That's a good point is just to try to, especially if you're doing a task like laundry, folding it
yes,
or, you don't really have to be concentrating. We
right,
all know how to fold laundry, so that's a great
exactly.
idea. What about delegating? What about delegating in your household?
Yes. Well, delegating first and foremost to the kids to make sure that they have a list of chores that they have to do on a daily basis. But then also deciding in our household, we made decisions about what we can delegate to people and hire. And some of it, not everybody has the luxury of hiring house cleaners. That doesn't come every day or every week. They come twice a month. So we made some sacrifices to make that happen. But with that, I found I freed myself up about 8 hours a month. Was a fair trade-off in our opinion for our family. So you have to decide which things are worth paying for and worth the money so that you can have a better quality of life. But if you're,
Right.
yeah,
And I'm sorry, I didn't
no,
mean to
yeah,
interrupt. And it kind of all ties back to your mission statement. If
yeah,
you know what I mean, like what's most valuable, what in your life? Is it sports? Is it God? Whatever the situation, whatever family you're in, it all kind of goes back to that. And so it's good to delegate some tasks to things, that
right,
may take away from your values and
right. Yard
so
work. We
okay.
delegate yard work.
Yeah.
I am not a yard person. And so we have somebody who comes and does the gardening and the flowers. But my mother, on the other hand, she does all her own flowers. She would not want to delegate that. That's part of who she is. And
Right.
part of who they are, my parents, is they love to garden. They've always been that way. So for them, that's their personal choice. So you have to know what's most important to you. And, you know, doing my yard work brings me zero joy. So
Right.
delegating it out brings me great joy.
Right, exactly. You're like, "Sold. I don't
Yeah,
need to do that."
yeah.
Yeah. If I could get my now, you know what I need to do? I need to get my kids to do my laundry. I need to pay. That's what
Ooh, that's
because
good.
I
That's
just thought
smart.
of that. I got to
Yeah.
delegate it. What about keeping an organized home? I mean, that goes without saying, but it's hard for some people, to
It
be
is.
so organized.
It is. Uh, and I don't have a perfectly clean home all the time or perfectly well kept home, but we do try to keep it organized.
Okay.
So in doing that, we use what I call the bin method, and I have a bunch of articles on my blog about the bin method.
Okay.
I guess I coined that term. And so what it is basically is my pantries, my bathrooms, our closets, we have different bin sizes, and I label the outside of bins, and bins are used to organize our things so that we don't have junk drawers, we don't have things piled up on counters. Everything has a home in our house. So where does the hammer go? It goes in the bin in the pantry that says tools. with a
Okay.
flashlight sitting on the counter, I say, go put it in the pantry in the flashlight bin, and my kids know where to go look. So we don't have things sitting out or being homeless. Everything in the home has a place. And that helps to keep our home organized, helps us become more sane as a family. And the kids got on with the program very young because I've been doing this since before they were even born.
That's good. You got to get them while they're young, right? When you're
Yeah.
doing that.
But it's something that everybody's trainable. My husband didn't do that when I met him, but he does now.
Right.
So it's something anybody can learn the system, and it's just a matter of making it a habit.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's a great idea. And even if you're starting out and your life is, your household is kind of chaotic, how would you start to do the bin method?
I would take on one room at a time, and
Okay.
I usually like to start with the kitchen because that's usually where you find the clutter, the mess in the drawers. Yeah, you open those drawers and it's like, oh, you have like candles and
Right.
staplers combined with spoons in one drawer. Oh, fun.
Right.
So what you do is you dump that all on the counter. You start sorting it out into piles of like items. Then you can see how many different bins you need, and then you can put them into bins from there. So usually I conquer one area, one space at a time, and that way it seems very manageable. I know that the Marie Kondo method is very popular about finding joy in getting rid of things that don't bring you joy. I'm all on board with that. I think that's wonderful. Her method, she calls for you to bring everything to one area of the house. But she is in Japan where she has a small apartment. So somebody like me who lives in a larger home in Texas, because we have lots of kids, lots of bedrooms, it's better to just conquer one room at a time.
Yeah.
And that makes it manageable for our household. And I would say manageable for a lot of families in America.
Yeah.
But I do completely agree with getting rid of everything that doesn't bring you joy. And for those things that you're going to need, batteries and staplers and flashlights, find them a home, put them in a bin because you're going to need them. And that way you don't have to go keep buying things. You have it, and it's in a bin that's marked and labeled, so you know exactly where it's at.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, I
It's
can't
also a
say.
surprisingly entertaining show. I
Oh,
think
is it?
my
I
wife
haven't
saw like 5
watched
minutes of it
it.
and she's like, "No, I'm out." But I loved it. So, I know I'm loving everything you're saying right now. It kind of gets my my organizer nerd self going here. So I really enjoy it. So.
I am not as organized, it sounds like, as you two. I really need to go read your bin blogs really bad. I'm gonna I'm gonna do
And I
that.
make it very doable. I've had so many friends that have come to me, and even ladies that I just know around town that have said to me, I use your bin method now. And I'm like, that warms my heart.
Oh,
And they're like, I've never done anything like this before. I've never organized before, but this made it easy and doable.
right.
So, and that's what I want to do is empower other people to be able to do something and organize their home because it's easy. It's not a
Right.
hard method. It's not overly complicated. If you look in my bins, it's not that the bins themselves are organized. You can look in there and everything's just piled in
Thrown
there.
in, right.
I don't have them lined up. They're in a bin. We know where they're at. That's what's most important is that they're in their home.
Yeah. I like the way you think though. From you're very thoughtful in the way that you're thinking and you're approaching your family's life and how you're approaching your blogs and the way that you're teaching and sharing. There's steps, right? And anybody can do it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
anybody can take one of your blogs and be like, I'm going to learn about this, whatever it is. And then one week you can just do that. So it's very good. I really like that. And the way you break things down, it's insightful. So
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. My goal is not just to write about myself because that's pretty boring. I want to write so that I can empower other people to do what it is that I'm talking about, so that they can live a better, more joyful life.
yeah,
So it's,
yeah.
buying clothes and where to get the best deals, or organizing your home, or cooking. I share recipes. Usually they're really, really simple recipes, but I like to share things that here's the steps how to do it and how to make your life better because of it. So, yeah.
Dr. Battles, I'm right that you have twin boys at home, right?
Yes, I do. Very wild and crazy boys.
So my question is, did you have this program kind of set up before they came into your life and you just continued with it? Was it something you had to change? What impact did the twins have on your kind of organizational strategy?
I've always been a bin person, I guess. I never really thought of myself as organized, but I've always used bins. So my organizational system has always been using bins. And when the twins came, we just bought more bins. Um, so and they seem to go with it. You know, even with the kids in their playroom, they use bins. And they can't read words. What I would do is I would print out labels that had pictures on them so that they could see what pictures. I would take actual pictures of our toys and then print them on my computer onto labels. So, you know, they could get with the
Yeah.
program very early on too. So
Aw.
it's really not a complicated system. It's easy to use and even toddlers can use it.
We have used up all the time we have for you, Dr. Battles, but I did want to give you the chance to just tell our listeners where they can find out more about your bin system or time management tips or the new book. Where can they find out more information and maybe ask a question?
Yes, everything is on my blog, www.livingjoydaily.com. I post my regular blog articles there, and I also post my lifehack.org articles there, so you won't miss anything if you go to the blog. I also have a Facebook group, and I'm also on Instagram. You can use my name, Magdalena Battles, or Dr. Magdalena Battles, and you will find me on either of them. So I thank you so much for having me, and I will be posting about my book when it becomes available on the market about extended family relationships. And if you're on any of the social media or on my blog, you won't miss it because I'll be sure to announce it for sure.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Hey, Americ here. Has your child been recently diagnosed with special needs? Are you hearing words like autism, Down syndrome, ADHD, developmental disability, or dyslexia? If so, I bet you're feeling guilt, self judgment, lack of self confidence, or relationship struggles. Things that work for other parents just don't seem to work for you, and you're feeling overwhelmed. All of this is much easier and more efficient if you have the right support, coach, and mentor on your side who understands what you're going through and knows how to help you, your child, and your family thrive. I specialize in coaching parents of special needs children on how to parent and think differently, which creates lifelong solutions for their entire family. If you're ready to gain self confidence, lose the guilt, and take control back of your life, check out my website, conquersmp.com, and sign up for a free breakthrough session today. I look forward to hearing from you. Again, my website is conquersmp.com.
Once again, we want to send out another huge thank you to Dr. Magdalena Battles. She was fantastic today. Next week, we are going to have Dr. Yvonne Gustafson. And of course, you can find out more information over at our Instagram, which is what, Americ?
Conquer, a parenting podcast, and you can find pictures of our kids, info on our guests, and info on our upcoming podcasts.
Excellent. So again, Dr. Y is going to be on our show next week to discuss when parents disagree. It should be an interesting show. Americ, do you have any final words of wisdom to share with us today before we go?
Yes, I'm definitely going to be implementing Dr. Battle's bin method into my house. I'm going to start really small, like she suggested, and I'm going to read all her blogs on that method. But I think that I could use that in a couple different areas of my life. So I'm going to introduce that and let you know how it goes.
Excellent. You could share it on Instagram at what's our Instagram again?
A Conquer, a parenting podcast.
There we go. You can share it on Instagram so everyone can see. And maybe, if listeners out there also use the bin method, go ahead and share your results and pictures of your bin method techniques.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. We will see you next week when we talk with Dr. Y. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.